Hello. So this is the little game thingy I have here running. I was working yesterday on putting some SDF things to make cool looking mountains and all that. If you watched that stream yesterday, you might understand that I didn't feel entirely like sure of if it actually fit the game or not. And I think actually that it doesn't fit for this game. It's a very cool technique, the SDF stuff, but it doesn't fit in something like this. Maybe it fits in a more I don't know what kind of game it fits in, but not in this one. But I also noticed with this game is that I mean, it's not much of a game yet, but I want to make sort of like a Zelda style game where you go around and explore things and find items and stuff. And in order to make it more feasible for me to finish it, I need to like go crazy on minimalism essentially. What this means is several things that I want to try. I just want to figure out some limitations, some constraints to make the game easier to make, and then I can have fun within those constraints instead of having like this anything goes kind of game. So the first thing I want to do is limit the camera view, introduce a fixed camera. So instead of this thing where you move around in a world like this, I'm gonna put that the camera is fixed and you walk between screens, and then I will make sure that it just instantly moves you between these screens. Won't be any transitions and loading screens. It will just instantly happen. Then I have a bit more freedom within those screens. Also, you know, you can cheat a bit more with how they work. And then I also think about what else was it? So I want to move it to single screen, and I also want to make it pixel perfect. Currently it's like if I make this bigger, you can kind of see that the player character is sort of standing off center a bit. I want to fix that. So it becomes sort of pixel perfect. And the way you do that is by, instead of using lots of fancy cameras and stuff, you just render into a small render texture, and then you can scale that up later. But yeah. And finally, I think I want to change the tile size of the game a bit. Currently it's 16 by 16. I think maybe 10 by 10 or 8 by 8 is better. I think I might go with 10 by 10 solely because of it. This is 320. The resolution of the game is supposed to be 320 by 180, and 10 by 10. No, tiles that are 10 by 10. Then they you get a perfect amount of tiles within it, and you also can get a bit more detail since it's a bit easier to. Yeah, you just have smaller tiles. These are 16 by 16. So that's the three things. First, we're gonna make the game so it's like a single screen, and then maybe look at the resolution stuff, and then maybe change the tile set to resolution. But we'll do the tile set stuff last because it doesn't matter. Hello, Saint Ivan and Mr. Julius. Thank you, Saint Ivan, who played my game a few days ago. That game, of course, being Cat and Onion, my game I released. Yeah, like I think it's 2 months ago now. I'm still trying to figure out what to do next. But anyways, so that's the plan. Yeah, the last name is Polish. My mom is Polish. I don't know any Polish, but that's where it comes from. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm not gonna use the SDF stuff I did yesterday. That I still have my little tool where that I showed yesterday on the stream, but I'm not gonna use that for this game because it's just gonna make like this tight level design almost harder to make. And also perhaps it it's not very good for keeping it minimalistic and stuff. Anyways, so let's get to it. Let's what we're gonna do first is make it into like a single fixed screen where we use, and then the level editor becomes very simple because it's just how many tiles there is. We can use the calculator because I want a tile size of, currently it's 16. So if we divide this by 16, we get 20. 180 divided by 16 is 11, so there's 12 tiles on the height. I'm probably gonna move it to 10 by 10 large tiles later, but for now we will do 20 by 12 tiles. Right. So let's do that. So here's my code. So we just, and for any patron watching, if you have source code access, the link, I have a link to where I start from in the description if you want to, if anything interesting, if anything looks interesting to you and you want to check it out more, you can do that. So we go to, how do we start? Maybe we start with the, maybe we start in the editor. I almost think that's easier sometimes. And in the editor, of course, one problem here will be that I would like it to have these toolbars on the side, and then you just have the screen and be able to edit it and then jump to neighboring screens and stuff. So let me think a bit, what's the best way to do this? I'm just gonna put the origin of the world up here, and then I can paint my room like this. But we probably need to make the window a bit bigger later to fit in the whole room, because when you have fixed screens you can just show the whole room at once and just paint it and then go to another room and stuff. Okay. Editor world. So let's disable all the serialization of this for now. And this STF object stuff we can delete. There's going to be a lot of deletion here. Editor world, tiles, dynamic list. We don't need to be a dynamic list anymore. We can say room width is 20, room height is 12. We're going to change this later. Because, like I said, I might change the tile size, but this one is dynamic, that's fine. Like that, we compile, see everything that breaks. True there. Alright, now we're gonna have lots of things to fix here. So we have the tiles here. This is in my editor code. So we are going to, let's see, world.tiles. This just appends it. Since I have a fixed list now, I can just place the tile at the correct spot. Also a nice thing. Like this is just a list like that. So my hope is that I can, how do we start with this from, a problem when you're refactoring stuff like this is usually it's a bit dangerous sometimes to end up in a space where everything is very broken for a long while and you're not getting any results. Let's do like this instead. We undo, we keep this. So it's better to, well, we keep those constants there. So it's often better to make the old code still compile, add the new code in side by side with it, and then just delete all the old code. So you can sort of do it step by step. So we do this, we do the tiles too, and then we'll rename it as tiles later when it's done. Right. And now this still compiles. Well, almost. Oh, I removed SDF object also. But that stuff we can just delete right away. I do not need that. Edit or draw. Let's delete that. So if anyone watched yesterday, it's very interesting with the SDF stuff, SDF stuff. I'm not gonna use it for this project, but it's a very cool thing I did. I'm gonna delete all this code here. So it's essentially all the code for the SDF editing mode. Just gonna delete that, delete this, compile again, see what happens. So edit mode, SDF objects, gone, delete, and then delete this one, delete this code. It's ripping stuff out. And there it compiled, reset, and the SDF stuff is now gone. Okay. Perhaps we should... You know what we'll do? We'll make a completely new edit mode tiles 2, we'll call it, and then we'll copy the old one. We'll copy the... Oh, hello, Jakob. I'm doing crazy. I'm just got annoyed that my game, all my ideas were too complicated, so I'm just gonna make a minimalistic game instead. So I'm gonna have fixed screens with pixel perfect resolution and all that. Maybe I was a bit inspired when I played Animal Well, but that's not the point really. It's more that I also had a realization that a top-down game like this is much more complicated than a like Cat and Onion, which is just a sort of side-scroller game. And also I think I can have more fun with maybe if other parts of the game are simpler, maybe I can do more interesting things within the fixed frame. Fixed frame I mean like in Zelda 1 where the camera doesn't move around. Maybe for example I can do like animations of the trees, some rustling in the wind. And also I would like to do animated tiles. So that it's like some water, like just like make every frame, try to make every frame look good instead of there is some difference to when you can walk around any old house when the camera is sort of fixed. It's sort of hard to say exactly why that is, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so now I have a copy of this, so I can just do whatever I want in here. And I'll probably delete this one later, but what I'm gonna start with is this camera I have here. Do I even need the camera anymore? Well, currently I need it for the zoom. The zoom will go away later when I make it pixel perfect. What happens if I do this? Where does it end up? Where is the origin? Let's draw something in the origin. rl.draw circle v. Let's say at 0, 0, 5 rl.white like that. Okay, the origin is here. Right. So I think I want this one. I'm gonna remove this offset. The origin will then be up here, I think. I think the origin is up here, probably behind this thing. Yeah, I think it's there. I'm trying to figure out a good way to... I essentially want to show the whole... I think I might just change the size of the window later when you go into edit mode. So you have these things on the sides here, but you still have this perfectly sized game world to look into. But how do I... Okay. It's the hardest part about sort of refactoring things, that sometimes you start in the wrong end. Now I don't think I've started in the wrong end yet, but sometimes you start in the wrong end. And then everything is very hard. This is the wrong function. I'm just going to delete draw tiles, because I don't need it, I think. You can put it in a separate file maybe over here, if I need to reference it, because I might be a bit too aggressive with it. Oh, that's the sidebar. Where's the top? Oh, it's not even in here, is it? It's this one, top bar. Okay, I don't care about this stuff right now. I don't care about this, I don't care about that. Poof, yeah, there you go. Now that's the origin up there. Draw tiles, screen rect. It's trying to remove some stuff. Mouse in viewport. Remove this check for now. Then I should be able to. You can see that I had problems getting this. What's it called? This box cursor to appear up here. That's why I was. I'm just gonna tear some stuff out every now and then until things work like I want them to. Okay, so now you have 16 tiles like that. How come it... I'm just gonna check something here. I don't think 16 by 16 tiles are supposed to fit even. You see, the last one is... You only fit 1/4 of it. Yeah, but we will look into that later. So now it starts. This is the top one. So, a nice thing about having this sort of fixed... So now we'll have a fixed grid per frame. So we can more easily reason about the position, essentially. And this is, it takes the mouse divided by the tile size, which is 16. And it floors it, and then it multiplies it by 16 again. And stuff like that. I can't help but think that maybe it would be easier if I started with doing the pixel perfect stuff, so that the game renders into a pixel perfect resolution, because then I can remove lots of the stuff as I go through this. Because there's lots of things with cameras and scaling and stuff. But I think it's fine for now, actually. I don't think it's that important. So this is a... We can essentially do this. World post.x equals clamp between 0, clamp world post.x, and it needs to be between 0 and room width -1, because that's a room height. This is the y. -1. Because this is so then I just make sure so it doesn't, like, I don't end up at the edge and it goes negative or something silly like that. Let's see, what does all this do? This is for drawing the cursor where I am. And this grabs the source rectangle from the atlas, because I have a texture atlas with all my tiles in them. Oh, this looks all oh wait, this is wait a minute. The grid pos needs to be clamped like that. Now it's okay. And then there's some drawing issue here where it ends up behind these. We might also simplify the rendering later, but we'll see. Right. So world.tiles. There's a tiles 2 now. And then we say grid pos.y times room width plus grid pos.x equals, and then we just write a tile into it. Here's like ugly things, like this one has a grid position on it because it was just on a list. We don't need it anymore. Don't need that. Right, so that's what I need to do in here when I hold the left mouse button. What's it complaining about? Some... And then when you hold the right mouse button, that's when you delete tiles. Currently, like, you can do stuff like this. So we're just gonna do the remove, becomes much simpler, just like that. The end. So then we are doing that. There's something about colliders here that I don't want to care about right now. Selected tile. Oh, that's the selected tile over here. That's all fine. We keep that as it is. So I think that's all I need to place tiles in my new thing. So now this thing doesn't do anything anymore because it's drawing into world.tiles 2 instead of world.tiles. So let's go to editor draw. Wherever that is, editor draw world, this one I meant. So we loop over tiles 2 instead. We say mostly the same stuff, right? Bam, then that disappears. Okay. Right. So here is not a problem at all, but the reason it doesn't show right now is because it doesn't know the position of the tile. Now we have a fixed size thingy here, so we can just figure out the position. The position is the index. What does this thing want even? What do you want? Tile world rect? What's that? Integer vector 2. And we'll return a rectangle. That's fine. Pos is vec2i of index modulo what's it called? Width, room width, and index divided by room width. That's how you go from index to a vector, sort of. And now if I change this, hopefully they will appear some stuff. Yeah, there it appeared. For some reason I no longer have a cursor outside of the first two. Everything has gone crazy. That's fine. Maybe the data is just... Why does it show up only sometimes? Just gonna remove our own objects here. Where's my cursor? Oh, I think I know what's happening. Yeah, I know what's happening. It's a Z fighting problem. It is drawing since this list, since the tiles 2. I have to excuse all the this one is fixed size now, so it always has all the tiles set up, and then the tile ID of the first one is this one, which will be this empty thing here. So it's actually drawing this texture everywhere. I think actually this one should actually be a blank. It shouldn't do anything. It's good to have the thing at 0 be sort of a transparent tile, which it sort of is because it's green, but it's actually filled with green color right now. But we're not gonna just go back to the editor, and what we're gonna do here is if t equals 0, can I just do that? No, of course you can't. Like that maybe. No, a dot. Oh. And now you see it appeared, because it was drawing the green one everywhere here, but you didn't see it because it's the same as the clear color of the background. And sometimes the cursor ended up behind and sometimes not. Hello Distant, thank you for enjoying my video series. This game is about... I can put this chat out maybe a bit. Ah, never mind. So this is a... I'm trying to make sort of a top-down sort of adventure game, maybe in more of a Zelda style or something. The idea is that you play as a cat again, because that's what I do apparently. And the current idea is that you start in your cat tree here, and then as the name of the game says, the Legend of Tuna, your family is hungry and you need to find the legendary tuna can to feed them. So you go out on a quest to find tuna. It's some kind of magical tuna can that will feed you forever. So you have to find it somehow, and there will be some kind of this Zelda style. Well, not necessarily Zelda style. That's mostly the point of view of the game, maybe. But I'm thinking that it's gonna be like puzzles in the game in the form of like exploring and figuring out what items to use in order to get further, and then there will also be some characters that you can talk to, so it'll be a bit of an adventure game also. It's sort of a bit similar to the previous game I did, and I want to, do more of what people liked about that, which is funny characters that have fun to talk to, and then going around the world, exploring it, finding items to sort of progress. And it will have some kind of minimalistic art style. But I'm gonna try to make the world maybe a bit more dynamic and living somehow. Maybe some trees moving, who knows, we'll see. But right now I'm just trying to make the game simpler, because I have had problems with getting anywhere. Thank you. But yeah, so right now we are doing what programmers like most, simplifying code, and then we will also be able to delete code every now and then. Occupied, what's this? Okay. I don't need this check and at all. This occupied stuff I can just delete. And I will be able to unpaint these. That's all good. Nice. Okay, so now I have some kind of room I can paint, right? And I can flip these like this. I don't know why I just painted with green there. Oh, you know, I can do stuff like this. Do we actually have everything to make an island? I never tried this before. I think this is just accidentally. I don't think I have the top piece here. Shouldn't I have it? Oh, it's this one. No, wait. Ah. Yeah, I don't. But whatever. I can do stuff like this. And this is sort of my first, work in progress art. So we'll see how it goes. Here you go. Here's some water for you. Okay. That's all good. So there you have your tiles in a more simple format like this. Let's try writing these tiles, serializing them out. Maybe let's try removing this one. Just doing this. I'm gonna remove this one for now. And that one. You see where it blows up sort of currently. Okay. Fix that. Edit or draw world. Okay, tiles. There you go. That worked. So now the world does not contain any tiles, the old tiles. I'm gonna do something drastic here. Since we'll have to redraw the whole world anyways, I'm just gonna delete the world.json I have. So now we're in empty space. So let's serialize this one, bring it into the game, because this is in the editor world right now. So we serialize it. I think this might work out of the box. I'm also gonna go to tile and remove some stuff that doesn't need to be there. I don't need a position there anymore. I just need to know which tile is it. Should I flip it in X direction or not? Remove the position. So this is my serializer code. And now we're in the game. And this is a logged world. So this is where we need to do some stuff now. So we have the index here. We need to do a similar trick as in the editor. To do this. I can probably do this tiles, and then we say tile pos is a proc that takes an id index, returns a vector, return this thing here. Yes, and then this room width, of course, should maybe be... We'll see where it ends up. They might make a room... I don't know why I call it room even. It's like a screen. We'll have a look at that in a bit. Okay, then the position is tile position from index. Can also be a bit safe here and say room width -1, clamp this thing between 0 and room height -1. Right. Let's clamp it in nicely. Okay, pos is declared but not used. That's not so weird. Need to put it down here. Like that. Where are we now? Tile at no position. What's this code here? Oh, that's my old talk. I can keep that for now, but world tiles. Okay, this is in draw. Take the index. The position is tile pos from the index. That. Perhaps now I can paint like that, go back, and there it is. And the collision still works because it... Well, there's one over here too. I don't know what that guy is doing, but the collision still works because it's the same tile I'm using. So that's cool. And then, you know, I can do stuff like maybe... I haven't done a fixed camera yet. But essentially, you know, I'll be able to do stuff like this. I don't care what's above here. Like, it should join with the next screen roughly correct. But, yeah. So what's all this stuff? Oh, I know what it is. It's when I click in here, it clicks through currently. But, yeah. So, you know, it's serializing this one now, so I can play, and whenever I exit the editor, it serializes it. So that's cool. Hello, Matthew. Matthew finished Firewatch the other day and asked if I know about it. Yeah, I like it. I played it. It's nice. Very well made little just story adventure game. Okay, this is the game camera now. The target, we only need to do, I think we just need to do this, and it will just pop to where it's supposed to be. Oops. There you go. Look, now it looks like this. There is something very calming in some way to me about fixed cameras, because especially if you're low res, your game, like when you're very low res, your art can become a bit noisy when everything is moving, because it's just hard to look at in a sense. So there's that fixed camera. We're probably not gonna need any of these cameras in the end. Currently we use them to zoom the view a bit, but yeah. So that's good. Okay, what about the editor now? I'm thinking either maybe the editor will just render outside. So the screen starts up here and then the editor is sort of outside it, and we will just have you resize the screen a bit when you're in the editor or something. Maybe. The editor also has a zoom right now, so I can actually work with it in the editor. I can just zoom it out a bit. And here you can see how it clamps to the, if I have a mouse down here, now it's clamped to the screen. So there's more things to this. I need to have some concept of like going to the screen above and to the left and to the right and to the bottom. Like what happens when you walk off the edge. Then it needs to, and the editor needs to be able to jump between different rooms. But that's, I think I can do that later. Should I perhaps do the, thinking if I should do the, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back to the editor. Objects. So I'm gonna re-enable all this stuff. Now there will be a toolbar up here. Like that. And then I am going to move the editor world camera down a tiny bit for now. Like that maybe. Oh, wrong direction. Minus 16. I don't know. How big is this? No, 10? I wrote 19 by mistake. Yeah, that's it. Because now I can switch to objects instead if I want to. I just wanted to see if I can still place these. Like, here's my tree. Oh, it doesn't render properly. I think that's just because in Draw World I've disabled that. Here we go, there they are. Let's leave the editor and you see these still render correctly. And these I think they work like they should currently. I think. I don't know if they're supposed to have like a question here is always like, should my rooms live in a should this screen I am on now, should it be in a continuous world where these always match up perfectly, or should I allow myself to do sort of more wacky things where, because for example if I put this one at the top like this, right, and then I walk to the next screen, then I almost expect to see the top, like down here somewhere I see the top of this sticking up if I walk off to the top one. Haven't really decided on that part yet. It depends a bit on, like I'm not gonna have a big transition, it's not gonna slide the camera up. I don't think that's, I think that's annoying. I think that's cool first 5 minutes and then it gets annoying. It's better to just, when I walk up here I snap out at the exact point at the bottom in another place. Like it just instantly changes the view. Yep. Like that. Okay. So that's that for simplify. I think I now want to do the pixel perfect cameras. I render into a render target and then I sort of splat that render target out on the screen. And that render target is the exact correct resolution. And then I can remove all the, and like that will just like, I will just remove everything that I don't want. That is complicated due to scaling and stuff. There are some problems with that, like fonts, because you're at a very low resolution, so drawing text can become problematic. Some people like delaying the text drawing and actually drawing it on top in the high resolution mode. You can do that maybe. I see, I have both, I have all the options, you know. It might be easier for some languages that are harder to fit on the screen. That's a nice, there's a lot of deletions. So let's add, we do this, we call this commit fixed camera, we push that to the repo. If any of my patrons are watching, this is on the adventure repo. If you have access, if you have source code access, if you want to check anything out. So, cool. Let's do the rendering stuff. I've done this before, so it shouldn't be that hard, but it's just a bit of a setup to do it. What you need to do is you need a render texture of a set size, then you need to use that when drawing everything. And at the end, you draw that thing to the screen, but you can scale it up. Then exactly how you scale it up is a bit, some people like doing an integer scaling, so it sort of it doesn't try to fit it perfectly into the screen. Like it's only if you have an integer scale of 320 pixels on the width that it can put it full screen on the width. So most, like many widescreen resolutions would work with that. But I can decide that later. Hello Stefan. Stefan asks if I have decided on a prototype for a game. Maybe this one. I'm currently trying to simplify it to get a bit more inspired, because I've been a bit slow with it, and I think it's because it's a bit overwhelming project. So now I'm instead trying to, I realize now that you can walk off the screen and then walk onto these. It's very funny. So now I'm trying to simplify this one a lot to see if there's something, if it makes me more creative with how to make the game. Because I have an idea for a little story and for the gameplay, I'm just not getting much done because somehow a bit overwhelming. We'll see. Okay, let's do the render texture stuff. So we go to Raylib, texture, what's it called? So we need to create a texture. Load render texture. This is the one you need. Load render texture. And then you just provide how big you want. So you go to game, init. You can go to game memory maybe and say somewhere down here, maybe at the top instead. We can say, what's it called? rl.render texture to the main texture. That's the texture we're going to draw everything into, and it's going to be of a set resolution. It's like so we're going to say that. And then we're gonna say here main texture is rl.load render texture. I don't know why it's called load. It just creates it. Resolution.x, resolution.y. Good. And then when you shut down, you do rl.unload render texture. So that should then okay. Oh yeah, maybe it's because it loads it into GPU mem, like Stefan says. Okay, so see here. Where did the player go? Did I accidentally delete something? No. The only thing I added this one. I mean, it's just before the player initializer, but it shouldn't matter. I mean, strange. Wait. Oh, it's up. It's up here. It's off the screen. Let's give it a better position. Oh, of course. This is off the screen. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, good. So we have our main texture now. Now we need to use that texture while we are drawing. And what you do then is you say begin texture mode here. Here's begin drawing, begin shader mode, begin blend mode. I'm not actually gonna need any of this anymore, but we can keep them there for now because I won't need any. A nice thing about drawing like this, pixel perfect, you don't need any pixel filters or anything because you're not scaling and doing weird stuff anymore. But we can keep it there for now, just because I don't want to change too many things at once right now. And texture mode. How is it now again? Begin drawing. I think, if I don't misremember, it's something weird here where so now it's black. I think it might be black even if I do this now. Because it will draw into a texture instead. Yeah. So we can actually move all the drawing down here. What we need to do now is just draw a texture. RL draw a texture. gmem.main texture.texture. We will draw it at 0, 0 with rl.y. This will not look correct probably, but we can figure that out later. Yeah, it's a bunch of problems here. It's upside down. That's easy to fix. It is confused about the size because there's a camera that zooms a lot, so everything is wrong. Let's first try to fix the cameras. I think what we need to do here is you set this to 1. See if this changes. Don't need that anymore. We're not gonna need the camera at all, I think, but yeah, you see, there's the whole game upside down up here. This is rendered into a texture, and then that texture is rendered to the screen. We'll remove this game camera stuff later. We can keep this here now. Now we need to flip this and fill the whole screen with it. Later we will need to make sure it's letterboxed or whatever, so it's centered or something on the screen. But that's not too hard to do either. Draw texture. I think it's this one you need now. Draw texture rec. This one wants a texture and a source. No, draw texture project we need. This one wants gmem.main texture, and then it wants main source, main test, an origin that I don't care about, a rotation I don't care about, and rl.white. Now, main source is 0, 0, resolution x, resolution y. Main test, oh, it's a rectangle also. It's a rectangle that is at 0, 0. I think this one needs to be flipped. That's why this is upside down. This is just an OpenGL thing, I think, with how it gets flipped. rl.getScreen. Right now we will just slap it in height. Get screen height. Okay, some compile errors. Yep. Yeah, so render texture in Raylib is actually just a render texture, and it actually has some kind of ID for an OpenGL frame buffer object, but the texture itself you need to draw if you want to draw it to the screen is a texture inside the render texture. So the render texture itself is just a struct that has the texture inside. So that's why I missed that there. Here you go. So it's now sort of correct. Everything looks a bit blurry, and I think that's because oh, it looks so funny. You're gonna fix that soon. I want to try something here. If I restart it, does it look blurry then? Yeah, so the times when it looks blurry is because the player is trying to draw in between pixels, and now it has a very low resolution frame buff. It has just a low resolution texture to draw into. Essentially, you should never draw at because of the way how Raylib works. Raylib likes talking about pixels as if they were, there's sub-pixels and you can go between pixels and stuff. But yeah, we can just change how it's drawn for now. Let's see, where is the player drawn? Here it is. So this draw texture probably should take a, like there's several problems here. Like you should probably not draw at all anymore. So you should put an eye here and an eye there, and then we'll have a lot of compilation errors. To fix that one. So this one was already integer, this one was not. Vec2 from vec2i. So we'll just, I think it's better to push the idea that things should be on the pixel grid as far back as possible instead of fixing it just before drawing, because then you will notice that you can simplify your code in the game as well. Right, and then draw texture here needs to take a vec2i, I is integer vectors, and then animation draw needs to take vector2i and draw texture here. Sort is a float currently. Okay, I'm gonna do this. Welcome to my refactoring show. Okay, so here is a thing that I don't know how people solve this in, maybe everyone does differently. Because when you're walking in the game, you walk with a speed, and your character will, if it walks very slowly, it won't like move from one pixel to the next every frame. It will just might take a few frames for it to move from pixel 5 to pixel 6, you know. So I think the correct thing is to store the position as a floating point, as a decimal number vector, and work with that. And then whenever you need to draw it, you convert it to an integer one, I think. So I think that's the... It sort of becomes like the interface for drawing becomes simpler, and then you can do whatever you want in your gameplay code, but then the code you interact with later is simpler. So this one is the one we want. So this is creates a vector2 integer from vector2 and floors it, because it's the difference between flooring and just casting it. Okay, what's happening here? Okay, so here, object, let's see here. Yeah, the object has a position that's a vector2i, and here I have to cast it. So I can just do this, o.pos, and then we write p.origin here. Don't need any of that. The sort key here still needs to be a floating point number for now. I will look into that later, if I even want the sort stuff. Draw texture, world position. Yeah, just throw that in. More stuff like that. Just remove the casts. Okay. And now you see that it's no longer... Now it's blurry because I scaled it up non-uniformly. But when you look at this one, it doesn't end up. And it's also always perfectly aligned with all the pixels on the screen. That's good. That's good. Okay. Let's see here. What have we done? We have put in the render texture and all that, blah, blah, blah. Draw a game into 320 by 180, render texture and scale up. Right. So what I need to do now is, this looks like crap. You see, it's all like fuzzy and weird. So we need to, like, when I do this, there's several things here, right? We can start with the letterboxing. Like, you see, this looks a bit funny. But that's just about letterboxing this. Because, so this is, you know, some people have ultra wide screens and stuff. And some games work well on those kind of screens. I think sort of more retro games usually don't. Especially those with like fixed room sizes, where you can't possibly expect the game maker to create stuff outside of the sort of view. Like, there's nothing more to show if you make it bigger. You can have some funny graphics on the side if you want, but yeah. So that's fine, I think. You just need to decide on what kind of game you're making, right? And then there will be some technical limitations. Right. So what we need to do in order to center this with some letterboxing, we essentially need to blah, 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 update. We go here. So this destination rectangle is where the magic happens. This is where you need to make sure that things are correct. And I can probably steal almost this code from the cat and onion code, because it does this already. So we'll just go there, and I will do where does that happen? Main drawing texture, it's called. Right. Right. Yeah, here is the stuff that does this, I think. Yeah. I'm gonna copy this. Go back here. Let's see what I can do. I can probably simplify the code a lot. So we just have a dest rectangle here. There. And let's see here. Wanted AR is, there's some things in Rayleigh with going full screen and stuff. I can probably have a look at this later. Right now I will do this. Get screen width, get screen height. It's good. Wanted aspect ratio is 9/16. That's why it says war, but that means wanted AR. And this is, so if this one divided by this one is bigger than this one, that one accidentally became a F64, yes, then the destination is this, or else it's this. And this is just, you see, it's always like, this is for letterboxing on the sides, well, which is sort of sidebars it's called, and this is for letterboxing, which means it moves it. Oh, this is for letterboxing because it's at x equals 0. It starts drawing, but then it puts in some black stuff below and above. If you run that, then it doesn't work because of that thing. And there you go. There it worked. It doesn't. It looks weird right now because it's not clearing the render texture properly. Clear background. Just blank it out. No, okay. Interesting. Oh wait, no, it's not that. It's because there's no clear down here, of course. And a clear while drawing in the. There you go. So if you look at this now, it is doing a letterboxing here, and if I pull it wide, it does a black bar, sidebars, whatever it's called. It's gonna look okay on most screens. There's a few ultra wide screens where maybe it won't look okay, but there's a few. That's just a few % of people. I'm not too worried about that. Okay, so now there's another problem here, that even though it's sort of correct now, you still see that it looks a bit weird, and that's because it does non-integer scaling, I think. Well, actually, that shouldn't make it that fussy. There is something funny going on here, where I sort of see on this pixel, yeah, it looks a bit weird. But maybe this is just because I still have lots of screen effect. Like I put in lots of extra effects to make the, because before this I had, you know, sort of like I zoomed up my pixel art and had made sure that it had there was like pixel filters and stuff to make sure there was some weird aliasing happening when you zoom around and stuff. So I'm thinking that maybe I just turn this off now and see what happens. So the way we do that is, here is begin shader mode, pixel filter, and pre-multiply. We delete those. Shader mode, texture mode. Okay. Oh, I didn't like that. What happened? Oh, I removed the wrong one, didn't I? It's the blend mode and the shader mode I'm supposed to. There you go, now it's back. And that already looks a million times better. This sort of weird glow around everything is gone. So now this is sort of pixel perfect, doesn't need any kind of filtering afterwards. No, nothing. It's just very simple, which is nice. That's good. There you have it. Your if you play I played yesterday Animal Well, and it sort of does similar things where that game is sort of fixed frame and has a fixed resolution, and if you can see in that game, if you put it in window mode and try to resize it, you will get almost exactly this behavior. So that's all good. I'm trying to go like my insight. So it's not much code, this. You see, this is just some stuff to figure out some destination rectangles, and then it's a render texture thingy, and then you're done. And I could remove all the filters and stuff. Letterboxing and company. So now, let's see. Now we can delete some stuff we don't need anymore. And there's a lot of stuff we don't need anymore. So, pixel filter shader, don't need. Compile, fix the compile errors, good. I have some stuff that loads fonts with... I can do that later. Wait, maybe I oversold that. Was that all I could remove for now? It's a lot of things we can remove. Remove one line. Removes one line at the end. Yeah, we'll get back to deleting stuff soon. Okay. So now we go into the editor, which we haven't started for a while, and it looks like this. Ta-da! It's zoomed in, and it has... Yeah, everything is broken. Oh, I know something I need to remove. Wait a minute. Atlas. Where does Atlas load? Right. This stuff here shouldn't happen anymore. This bilinear filtering is just for the pixel filtering. When you're doing scale pixel art, you don't need that. So you can actually do this. Load texture, bye-bye. That procedure is not needed anymore. We can go straight to the raylib function. Right. So there's that. Now it no longer loads that texture like so. Now you see these are no longer blurry. These are no longer blurry because I turned off the... What's it called? Filtering. That was on them. Adjusting the... Sorry if this makes noise. I have the cheapest mic boom arm in the history. It's from IKEA. It cost like 150 crowns, like $15 or something. It's almost can't hold my mic up, and I had to modify it to make it not rumble when you touch the table, because the springs on it used to rumble. So I put pieces of felt against the springs and stuff. But when you do that, it actually works. But it's not the best thing ever. Hello, Transmutrix. Welcome to the stream. I am simplifying things today. It's maybe a bit... Transmutrix is making a game with a fixed camera view, like a little top-down game. So the direction I'm taking this might be a bit similar to that. Because I've sort of put the fixed camera and I want it to be a bit more Zelda-ish. It's like Zelda 1 maybe. But maybe still use modern computer resources. Like maybe I can have some animation on the trees, and just use the resources of the computer to make the frame you're looking at look good, instead of trying to be like for example, if I have water in the game, or if I have some kind of thing that maybe I could have a shader for the water that makes it look nice. It renders at a very low resolution. But I can sort of focus maybe a bit more on those things if the camera view is simple. Yeah, so yesterday I did, I haven't played Paper Mario actually, which Transmutrix talks about, but I have a look at it. But yesterday I was doing, my SDF ground stuff, and while it's very cool, I don't think it's not for this game. It's a cool technique, and I have that code laying around still in a separate small program, but I'm not gonna use it for this code. I'm gonna try to go super simple, like one texture atlas, and try to play on the strength instead with like having fun characters and maybe making the exploration fun. So that's all good. Can walk around. Oh yeah, the editor is what we're gonna fix now, because the editor I have broken totally. Oh, actually, before we do that, yeah, sometimes you prototype a thing and end up saving it for another game later. Yes, exactly. And I said this 1,000 times, like the thing about game design also, knowing what is a good idea for this game in particular versus what is just a cool idea. It's two kind of different things. If you just take all cool ideas and put them into your game, you will have a very strange and weird game. Okay, so if you look at these cameras now, these don't do anything anymore. Zoom 1, and this one is not used because there is no UI. Delete that, and we fix the compile errors. Okay. Okay, maybe I'll keep. Okay, I keep the game camera around. The UI camera, I think I can delete. Okay. Delete that. Because I still need to think a bit about my drawing system, because I have this overcomplicated drawing system right now. But maybe we look at that in a bit. That would be a lot of code to delete if I decide to change it. Let's see. Remove. I can go in here also. Just the pixel filter fragment shader. I don't need it anymore. The thing is also a lot of ideas I had in this thing about doing the ideas that are good for a game in particular. Lots of the ideas I did just carried over from the previous game I made, right? And there I was like, okay, it has this sort of scaled up pixel art that's just rotating and zooming a lot and doing all these kind of crazy things. And because I thought maybe I want that stuff as well, then in this game you started feeling a bit overcomplicated. Well, not really overcomplicated, but it just, I started focusing on the wrong things, I think. So I'm just trying to simplify it now to force myself to do simpler things. Anyways. Okay, we have that. Now let's fix the editor. Go back to the editor. Hoo-ha. There's cameras in here that need zoom 1. Editor world camera needs zoom 1. Bam, there you go. Now, text is gonna be a problem. We're gonna have to figure out something with text. Because, yeah. And also, another problem with letterboxing is that suddenly your mouse position is not correct anymore. We'll figure that out too. Let me look at this. I'm thinking that maybe the editor stuff can be outside here. In the sort of, maybe I'll make the editor have its own sort of drawing code. And it can do whatever it wants. And it sort of does it outside of the game. Yes, let's try that. What we'll do for the editor is something different. So we'll go to game here. Then we'll find, like this is the code right for drawing everything. Maybe, let's see. Maybe the game should control where it's drawn on the screen and the editor can do it differently. Let's see here. Yeah, you know what? It's gonna be like this, I think. I'm gonna do like this. Main texture there. That goes there. All this goes here. This is the game drawing code. This thing, yeah. I'll think about this later. That's just an extra thing you have there. So now if you go into the editor, nothing happens because it's not clearing the screen at all. Nothing happens because it doesn't really work anymore. So we will go into the editor code and go into draw. This is the editor draw code right now. I'm just thinking what the best thing to do is here. The editor has a bit of a problem with everything being split up into a draw and update in sort of a weird way where it's trying to draw the UI and the world and the stuff. But what I will do here is this. I will paste all this in. And then I will take this. And I will go down here and I will move this back. And here's your main texture. I'm gonna add, this is not the EM, is the editor memory, it's the main memory global pointer for the editor. But we need to figure some stuff out here. So the destination rect for the editor is not gonna be centered like in the game. No, it's just gonna be 0, 0. And then I'm gonna put these two guys in. That, don't need any of this. The end. And I show you why we don't need that. think this is how it's supposed to look. We can just pass in the main texture here. Maybe I should make the editor have its own. But who knows? Strange. No, I can't get into the editor at all. Oh, it didn't compile, but it looked like it compiled. There we go. All right. I forgot some stuff. Let's go back. I was lying. You still need some of that code. You still need to do some stuff to make it not stretch. You just don't need to do the centering. Also, destination is a rectangle. Sounds like the beginning of a song or something. Destination is a rectangle. Do. And then this position stuff we don't need anymore, I think. Not in the editor. So this is what I was going for. This is my grand idea for how the editor is gonna work. I'm just gonna have all the extra editor UI on the side here. So if you want to edit your game, you just have your window a bit bigger, press F2 and you have your stuff here. You play the game, go into editor, do some stuff here, play the game. So this toolbar, everything is gonna be over here. So then the game view is sort of uninterrupted. And stuff. Okay. Okay, let's first fix this. Why is this cursor not correct? I'm just gonna check also that this actually works correctly. Yeah, it does. This is not very useful. I'm not gonna care. It's for use by me, so I'm gonna just have my editor on the side here. Or maybe it should be below. Maybe that's better. Because I quite often have like this. Maybe this is better. The editor is down here. Because I very often have the code here. It's like a widescreen screen, right? You don't want more stuff to be. Yeah, we're gonna do this. That's much better. Okay, let's figure out why this cursor is crazy. Edit mode tiles. It doesn't need to be called tiles 2 anymore. That was just me fumbling around. Okay, let's first fix the tile size. I think it's just something simple in here. Where's the destination? Here it is. World pos F. The world position. Drawer mouse pos. I think this one might be. Aha. Since it's scaled. Yeah, I must do something smart here now since it. Didn't I solve this in my other game also? Let me check. Because this is from my other game. But this is just because you have the letterboxing moves the top left sometimes. Well, not in the editor, but in this case, the top left would now no longer be here, so the mouse position you get from Raylib is wrong. I don't think that's the case now in this little game. I think that it's more a problem of you need to divide the position yeah, the Justin says that's a fun font for the buttons. Yeah, it's just accident. I haven't fixed it yet. It's scaled. I don't even know if how well Raylib works with when you have low-res things like this and the font drawing. I don't even know if it's gonna work correctly. Maybe I'll have to do my own bitmap font drawing thingy from the Atlas or something to make it all nice. We'll see. But yeah. But it's going quite well, I think. This drawer mouse pos. Yeah, this is a piece of crap, as we call it. This should be like rl.get mouse position. It's the mouse position, but since I am drawing a scaled up thing here, it needs to know how much are you scaling up the render texture to fit onto the screen. That's what's missing. Let's see. I think we can figure that out. It's just let's try this. I'm just gonna copy this for now and try to reason myself into what this needs to say. So in this case, the height, I mean the scale here is sort of height over, this one is bigger than, no, like this. And in this case, we return SW divided by W. And in this case, well, then we return rl.get mouse position, not delta, position times scale. I think maybe it's supposed to be divided by scale or something. Yeah, I think that's how it's supposed to be. Let's just try that. sure that works. Got lost in my code. Yeah, here. Almost. Almost. Correct. Okay. I know what's wrong. DPI scaling also happening. This is always an interesting problem. Like, when do you... Because my screen is at 150% scaling. Railibis reporting. Let's see here. Is it these you are supposed to use instead, maybe? No. Wait. Something is wrong. Yes, I know what's wrong. The problem here is that I need to compare it to the render texture size, not the whatever this is. So maybe I can do like this. em.main.texture.texture.width. Is that a thing? Maybe? Height? Is that a thing? Okay. Wait a minute. No, wait, I'm doing the wrong thing again, aren't I? I'm doing something weird here. The scale, in this case, is the screen height. It should be like this. em.main.texture.texture.height divided by the screen height. Right. Something like this. Divided by the screen width. Justin is asking if there's a difference between and not, I don't think so. I think they do the same thing. I always just do this. Distant says that get render width has problem with high DPI scaling. Yeah, I think I ran into that in my previous game, and the release version of it simply does not have DPI scaling enabled, if I remember correctly. Let's check if this one has that enabled. I don't remember. Nope. So it's not even enabled. Okay, what kind of scale are we getting here? We're getting a very small number. That's because this is... I want to know how much bigger did it get. So I'm doing this the wrong way. There you go, that's something. I mean, I don't even need to do this really. So now the scale is big. If I just return this, what happens? Yeah, so it needs to become smaller. What am I doing wrong? I'm just gonna try something here. Just wanna see something. No, it's not the DPI scaling. Anyways. The mouse position needs to get smaller because it's currently too far away from the cursor. Now it's what am I doing wrong? Let's see, check the assumptions here. This will be this thing will be 180. This would be a very big number. Maybe these are supposed to be the other way around actually in this case. Ah, there you go. I was being silly. Wait, it's not, still not. It's a bit off. I think that's just because of, I know why. There's a 10 somewhere, isn't there? This zoom. Now it would be correct, I think. There you go. There you go. Now it's correct. That's all good. Now let's start moving the editor UI to down here. Editor update. So we need to know what's the rest of the rect of the window. Like we need to essentially have this stuff here and then just know what's below it, sort of. I think maybe I need to split up my editor code a bit. Editor draw world, blah blah blah. Yeah, because I want to draw down here totally separate, I think. Let me think a bit about this. Okay, let's just start by putting it down here and then we will clean it up. We're gonna fix this mad font and stuff here. It will all be fine. But first we will move everything. UI cam. Let's just do this. Let's just hack this in there for now. Dot y plus equals 180. Is that it, or is it? No, that's not how you do it. I meant this one. .y. Now I think it ended outside here. Right, because if I do a bit less here, it will sort of pop up here. Yeah. I don't even want to draw these into the game view, sort of. I want to draw them separately, I think. Because there's no point in having the editor be sort of drawn as part of the game. I'm gonna do something here. It's all a bit convoluted because of my over-engineered drawing stuff, this draw group stuff that I want to remove or change somehow. I think we're gonna change that also today. But editor update. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna say, we're gonna do like this instead. If we're editing, we do these two. If not, we do these two. And then the editor is responsible for doing whatever it wants. So I don't care about all that other stuff. Editor draw, update. Okay. Yeah. So now I have more control within the editor code of the order of things. So what I want to do now, I think, is we're just gonna draw the editor world like a normal world. Where is that? Draw. Editor draw world. This thing. What does this do? You see, this is again using my overcomplicated drawing system. I think that one is gonna go soon. We need to do it one step at a time. Okay, so what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna take editor draw world. We are gonna see here. Let's see. Here's editor draw. So let's use the first thing we do is that we say editor draw world, and then we say editor draw here. And editor draw is all this crap. Oh, it's gonna be so nice to fix this. I'm trying to figure out. I need to hack around this a bit before I do it properly because it's too many. So I'm just trying to first draw the game up here and then have my editor down here, and that code is totally separate, sort of. Sort of. La 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 la. So you draw the world and then you draw this and then you do the UI. Okay, let's go in. What if I use... I take these two, go back to update. Then we remove that, and we go back to edit or draw. So this stuff draws into the main texture. Now it only draws the world. But perhaps this happens up here. I don't need, it doesn't really need to happen there. It can happen here. No, I mean down here. Because then I can do something like this. Begin drawing. And drawing. Okay, so this is controls where Raylib starts drawing to the back buffer, and here it stops. Then it draws the editor here. Wait, where is the game draw? Oh, it's so complicated. I need to fix this. It got overcomplicated. If I compile this now, I think everything just explode. Okay, this is quite interesting. It actually kind of works. I mean, this stuff is supposed to be down here, but so let me go to editor update here. Where is the rectangle? The main rectangle. Screen rect. Okay. Screen rect.y plus equals 180. Does that work now? Yes, it does. Well, it's not 180, it's this thing is more of a world draw scale, right? So that is just rl.get mouse position times this thing. Should compile, and now this 180 here we can do something like that maybe. Oi. There you go. Now it jumped down to here. This is what I, and now actually I mean, this is not how I want it to work. And also the This seems to have broken down a bit. My mouse position seems to be wrong again. Oh, I know why. Divide. There you go. So now sort of things are looking a bit better. It's of course a bit bugged because you click down here and it sort of draws in there. Like if I choose this one, then it drew it. But yeah, so we're gonna change the editor UI completely, so it's not like this. That would be fun. How will it look instead? Why is this down here? I zoom this up. Well, I shouldn't use the camera at all. Ah, everything is a bit messy. But it will get less messy very soon. Ugh. Okay. So you see, now it's kind of interesting. I now have a sharp font on here, while this is rendered. So this is rendered totally separate. So I can do whatever I want in the editor. So that's nice. Let's make sure that that it doesn't place tiles when our cursor is not in the world. How does that happen? That's if the mouse position is outside. I'm trying to... I need to know if I'm inside this rectangle here. So... just find that one. I mean, it's this one, right? This is the screen rectangle I'm inside. Remove all that. Like that. I think. And then we can say mouse in screen raked. this should fix that, so I can't delete tile or accidentally press tiles anymore. Yeah, now it doesn't happen. It only happens, I think, if I'm inside here. Like, that works, but clicking here doesn't work anymore. So that's good. Okay, good. This object placing mode is broken because of similar reasons. I think I'm trying to remember why I even need this group drawing. I think it was because I wanted to delay drawing of things until the draw proc was run. So then I put everything into a big list like that. Let's try to remove all that. Let's just, this is a fun thing you can do. You can say, wait, what am I doing here? This is just lots of things. So let's try to this would be the biggest simplification probably of this stream. We will all these drawables here. So let's fix it in the game first. So the game, wait, no. Okay. So one reason to do stuff like this is so that you sort. Because, for example, the cat can go behind this one and it can go in front of it, but it's drawn as one single big thing. So what it does, it gives the Y position as a sort of sort key, and then just before it draws, it sort of sorts it, if it's here or here. That's what it does. So maybe that's still a good idea to have. World draw group. Like, because I want this thing to be I want to simplify this as much as possible, but the player must still be able to go behind things and in front of things, which means some kind of sorting needs to happen. But I would say that a better idea is to have a draw proc for drawing the game world. That draw proc, it internally figures this stuff out, right? So let's try to do that. Let's try doing all this, but without any of these things, because I don't think we need them. Let's see, we're draw. Animation draw, where are you called? Here you're called here, and then it goes through all the tiles and sort of, yeah, we can do all this. I'm just gonna go for a short break. But we'll do that after that. See ya. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Let's remove some code. I forgot BRB. There we go. So, now let's go bananas here. So what we want to do here, we don't want to use these things anymore. What this draw group on screen does, it sort of, well, this is kind of what we want to do, but we don't want to do it sort of what is a drawable really? A drawable is something that says what to draw and a sort value. Which makes sense. That's sort of, yeah. Yeah. What happened? Sublime just stalled. What I don't want to do, I don't want to use this draw all these things inside the editor. I want to be able to use Raylib straight up inside the editor again. I want as few things between me and Raylib as possible, because it just gets messy, I think, when it has too much of this stuff. So maybe this stuff isn't such a bad idea really, this draw group on screen, but perhaps it it shouldn't have a camera. I don't need that. It should just have a sort and a, so it's really just a list of drawables. Without this draw group thing is a list of drawables plus a camera and a mouse bus and some stuff. Okay, I'm gonna do this. What I will do is take all this stuff and you make a drawables. I will put it there. Oops, something went wrong. Put it there. And then it will this is just a pointer to a slice of drawables. We sort all those. And then we run over them. Aha. La la la. No, because this is syntax was wrong. It's supposed to be like this, I think. So now this compiles. Now I just need to do this. Or draw drawables, all drawables. I can probably do like... No, wait. Sure. Aha. Here it is checking if debug draw is on or not. We say that debug draw is false. We also pass an atlas. That is rl.def. This is the texture. Okay, I don't have that alias. And then we can pass atlas and debug draw here. There you go. So my idea now is okay, I'm gonna look in my other game because I did something similar there. I'm just wondering what the hell did I do? Okay. I just have a list of renderables with a variant on it and a layer, and the layer is, that was a side scroller, so that this layer is sort of like the sort. And that worked pretty well. And this thing just appends on a list of renderables. Then it sorts it, and then it draws it. Let's go back to here. Yeah, all these are very trivial. I can just... Okay. I'm gonna do like this. I'm gonna go to game, to draw, and then we are gonna make a... Bleh. The game memory will contain a list of drawables. I already have that here. Maybe I can just use this one. I don't need a group. I just need this. This is the thing I will draw into. Like that. Like, what even is this? Draw into group, world draw group with the game camera. Why? Delete. Okay, and then we can delete these two. So this is what I really dislike currently, that I have all this implicit, how to say, this is like some global state of what are we currently drawing into. We're drawing into the world, into the UI, and I always mess it up, so I don't want any of that. So what we will do here is in animation draw. This one uses draw texture. Okay, so instead we will do here something like this. We take the player's walk animation. we get the frame, and then we say, here we say gmem.num world drawables equals 0, and then we just if gmem.num world drawables equals the length of gmem.world drawables, then we just return. Otherwise we do world drawables gmem.num world drawables equals d, and then we plus equals 1 there. Now we can do this. We go to draw texture, steal this code. So drawable is a union. So we can say that we want to draw a texture. Wait, drawable is not a union. Let's do this. This will. Like that. So then we can say frame here, player frame. This is just a texture. The position is draw the player at that position, and then the origin is apparently this instead. And then the sort is the Y position of the player. What is it complaining about? Alright, yeah, here's where I need to do the vec2 from vec2 integer. No. vec2 I from vec2 floor. Right. So now this is added. This is added now to the list of drawables. This looks a bit messy right now, but it's gonna be fine. And then we can remove this line because we're not drawing this anymore. I don't think this procedure will even be used. And then at the bottom here we will write draw drawables. Do like that, and then we say from 0 up to how many it is, and then we take the atlas, and then we say gmem.debug draw like that. Forgot the thing. Aha. Oh yeah. How is it now again with wait, give me the first error. This thing. I shouldn't have a pointer here, should I? Yeah. Because it can still sort the thing inside a drawable array. Because there's a pointer inside the slice. It just can't change the slice itself. Delete these two. Okay, and now it compiled. And the player is walking around. There's nothing else yet because we're not drawing anything else yet. You can see the collision here. I can't walk upwards. Okay, good. This I'll ignore for a bit. Here are all the tiles. Go in here. I think essentially I can copy this code to here. Because it's the same name. R is... I think that's it. Now the tiles should appear. Bam, there you go. This the thing here is that it might look like I'm doing just the same thing, but I will be able to later remove all the stuff, like almost everything in this file except maybe this procedure here. And above all, I will be able to remove this drawer mouse pos and also this thing about camera, since I draw groups. Draw groups won't exist. Draw groups was a thing to group a camera with a bunch of drawables. But with this kind of gameplay, it just makes things complicated, and especially the editor got very complicated. So let's go here, take this code out here. So this is p.texture and the position and the origin and then the sort key. That made those appear again. You see, they're still nicely sorted. So that was what I was worrying about earlier, like how do I make things sort nice and sort of just there's always like where do you put your sorting when you're making a game that because I have tiles are very easy to sort. You can just render them from top to bottom, that's fine, but this thing here, for example, it has this position here and it's just in a big list of things, of objects. This is also an object and the player character, and those needs to be sorted against each other, and also the character needs to be assorted against the tiles. So I would say have a draw procedure where you just sort them. You can put all your things into using some simple structs like this into a list, and then sort the list and then draw them again using raylib like this. Not too keen on this sorting being here, but you know, I can move that out later if I need to. This should be like color grass, I think. Right? Yeah, that's the same color. Okay. Good. So now I think that this code no longer uses I used to have these things here, this debug drawing. Let's enable with F3. What I will do is this. So draw rect here will... So something that's good to have usually, some kind of debug drawing thingy. I don't know. I'll look at that later. I got tired now. All these things. Well, okay, now I'm in the editor, so let's go back and look at the editor. Because I fixed most of the things in the game now, but the editor is the messy part. So I would love to just draw this in a simple way, and then I just use Raylib straight up to draw the rest down here. Because I don't like having too many indirections. But you know what? My brain is fried. So, I'm gonna do that later. But essentially, when I'm done with this, I will be able to delete almost all this drawer stuff. Except maybe the code that sorts and draws things, because that's still needed. And then the editor will be able to use Raylib straight up again. Instead of, like, it's so annoying when you're in the editor and you just want to quickly use rl.draw circle or something, and you can't because there will be other things drawn on top of that later. So I know with an immediate mode UI, you usually expect things to be drawn in the order it's executed anyways. Anyways, but I'm a bit tired now, so I'm gonna do that later. Before I fall asleep. No. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I will see you next time. Maybe I'll work a bit more on this off stream, or maybe I'll do a bit tomorrow. Also tomorrow I think I'll maybe try to record some more tutorial videos for Odin, just to switch things up a bit. Hopefully those will be out sometime before the end of the week. But anyways, thank you all for watching.